The big war in the golfing world has begun. PGA Tour has banned members who have chosen to compete in the first leg of the Saudi Arabia-funded LIV Golf series. Bryson DeChambeau has already signed up for the Rebel series, following in the footsteps of world number 1 Dustin Johnson and 6-time major champion Phil Mickelson. With more professionals likely to join the Greg Norman-led enterprise, News 9 Sports tries to decode the power struggle that has gripped the world of golf and what it means for the future of the Saudi defectors. Hello and welcome, this is Rohit Bhardwaj. To offer insights on this, we have with us Rishi Narayan, a 1982 Asian Games gold medalist, and Arun Singh, former IGU Director General. Hello, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rohit, for getting us here.
So let me read out first the letter that has been signed by PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. Yeah. We have followed the tournament regulations from start to finish in responding to those players who have decided to turn their backs on the PGA Tour by willfully violating a regulation. The players are being notified that they are suspended or otherwise no longer eligible to participate in PGA Tour tournament play, including the President's Cup, Monahan said in an official statement. Rishi, we will start with you. What does this suspension means for the golfers and how do you see this panning out in the future?
Well, you know, the PGA Tour is obviously trying to defend its whole position. It's been in a very dominant position, controlling the game, controlling all the top players in the world. It's kind of got a, you can say, almost a monopoly on the top, 50 players in the world. They all want to play on the PGA Tour. And the LIV Golf Series is shaking up the status quo. So there's bound to be a power struggle at this point. It's too early to tell where this is all going to go. I mean, if LIV Golf can survive and persist for the next 2, 3, 4 years, then of course it's going to be a force to reckon. But at this point, there's no guarantee that they're going to survive more than a year or two. If they do, then of course it will change things. It'll be too bad if some of the best players in the world are not allowed to play in the majors, for example, and not allowed to play on the PGA Tour when and if they can. I mean, if they play 8 events in the LIV Golf Series and play 20 events on the PGA Tour, I don't see what the problem really is. They're fulfilling their commitment to the tour. The tour is getting the full value out of the top players in the world. So if they go and play 8 events, in the past they could go and play 8 events in Europe or 8 events in Asia. There was no big deal. So what's the big deal about them going and playing 8 events on the LIV Series?
Mm-hmm. Arun, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, in my view, what I agree with Rishi, it's only a question of how long will the LIV Golf Tour survive. If they survive for 2 years, they have some distinct advantages. One is they have a bottomless pit for the finances. I mean, the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund is worth 600 billion now. So spending few billions, a billion here and there is all right. And the second thing is it does offer a better deal to players. And ultimately, professional golfers are people who play for money. I mean, the reason for the success of PGA Tour itself is based on the money they offered. And it was definitely a marketing success. And just to add on to what Rishi was saying, this is not the first time these things have happened in professional golf tour. In India, we had the professional golf tour run by PGAI. PGTI came in with the backing of an industrial house or sponsors, and PGTI has survived. PGA of America itself was formed in, I think, 1916 as a trade association of professional players who could not be a member of the elite golf clubs, and they were not being treated very, very well. So the purpose of PGA itself was to provide a better deal to players who wanted to make money. over a period of time, obviously they enjoy monopoly status. No one likes the monopoly status to be questioned. So they'll definitely protest. But going by the examples of other sports, for example, the NFL is being challenged by XFL. It has flopped twice earlier.
Correct.
But now with Dwayne Johnson coming in, there seems to be a possibility that the NFL itself might be challenged, which is as old as PGA itself. We had a challenge in India about onto cricket. It did not survive. We had a Kerry Packer series which did not survive, but it changed cricket forever. So irrespective of what happens, whether it survives or not, the golf is going to change. And I think I personally like the 54-hole concept. I personally like the last player making money. The bridge between the top players and the bottom players are going to reduce a little bit. And obviously, if a player is going to play for money, if he's going to get 200 million to play the tournament, the chances are many people will bite the bullet. The question is, what Rishi pointed out, will they survive? I personally presume if the Saudi Arabian investment fund persists, which they have shown in the Premier League, England, they have shown that they can persist with buying very, very expensive clubs. If they persist here, then I think PGA is there in for a very, very serious challenge.
Also, they have reserved $2 billion for the next 2 years till 2024, if I am right, for the next score of events, correct?
Yeah.
So, also on the other side, like LIV Golf CEO Greg Norman has already said that this ban is going to be challenged in the US courts as per the antitrust laws, because all these players are independent contractors. What would you like to say, Rishi, on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to come down to a legal battle. People are going to challenge, the antitrust or anti-competitive kind of measures that the PGA Tour is trying to enforce. If it was India, the Competition Commission of India would get involved in trying to see whether, a tour could take away the livelihood of its members, right? So I don't know all the legalities, how it'll all work out, but for sure there's a lot of money at stake, and therefore this is going to be challenged, because I think the players have a point that if they can fulfill their contractual commitments to the PGA Tour and play the minimum number of events that they need to play in order to retain their membership, then they should be allowed to do what they want the rest of the year, right? If they want to play 10 events on LIV series, why not? And, at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, the ICL was, squashed by the BCCI, and that gave birth to the IPL. Until that time, the BCCI was sitting very complacently on, and not introducing league cricket and club cricket in India. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the PGA Tour comes up with its own, team concept in a year or two. They may realize that fans enjoy team sport, and there's a particular appeal to having teams playing, and the players like to get guaranteed salaries from teams. There could be a lot of wealthy individuals who want to own, prestigious teams with the best players in the world. It's a sitting duck for the PGA Tour to launch a team concept on their tour. I wouldn't be surprised they do it to counter the Saudi move.
Especially when you have only 2 team competitions like the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, and the Eurasia Cup, which was part of the Asian Tour, that got discontinued. Won't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Arun, if I just wanted to say one more thing, that, why are people reacting so badly to Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, etc., right? Look at the other sports in the world, like soccer, right? Ronaldo and Messi, they can switch clubs, right? They can play for one club 1 year and go to a different league. They can move from England to Spain, Spain to France. At the end of the day, the fans love to see the best players in the world play. And even if they change teams or they change leagues, Ronaldo and Messi, are not going to lose their appeal. And they get guaranteed figures of $200 million themselves. So what's wrong with Phil Mickelson or Dustin Johnson getting $150 or $200 million guaranteed payout, right? That happens with the best players in other sports in the world as well.
Arun, your take?
Rohit, I completely agree with Rishi on that particularly. In every other sport, which is a real high money game, It always revolves around the highest bidders buying players, whether it's club transfers in English league, and when you're talking about older players going to play live golf league, it has happened in soccer itself. All the great players, like including David Beckham or even Pele, they all went and played the American League in the retirement years. So this will happen, and I think this should happen. Players have a limited shelf life. Players have a right to make a lot of money, as much money as they can. Once they retire, many of them do not do as well as we imagine it to be. In fact, there are enough stories of bankruptcy of people, of big stars. So I think I do not see this as something which is an ethical issue. A lot of people are trying to make it as an ethical issue. It's not an ethical issue. The model was propagated by PGA itself. The PGA itself had the hegemony over this tour, primarily because it had a lot of money. So if you were a top Asian player, will you play Asian Tour or will you play the US Tour? Or you will play the PGA Tour? And I personally feel that the chances of surviving for this league are very, very high. One is what Rishi exactly talked about, the legal battles. I mean, off the cuff, one can see the players do have a very solid case. Off the cuff, we are not legal experts. Secondly, it's backed by a billion dollar fund, billions of dollar fund. Thirdly, it gives team championships a fillip. Golf has been very, very boring for a very long time. You have the same 72 hole, you have the same, cut being applied after 2 days. Nothing much has changed. And incidentally, if I am not wrong, Ryder Cup is not owned by PGA Tour. Ryder Cup is owned by PGA of America. So there itself, there is a differentiation. And I think that is going to be the next challenge which PGA is going to which PGA is going to get. What happens if some of these PGA of America, European Tour, or some of the major championships decide not to ban these players? Like US Open has already allowed this. US Open is owned by USGA, so it has already allowed that. So that leaves what? PGA Tour is owned by PGA of America. So there are only two majors which are left, and the entire PGA Tour which are left. But what happens if they go to play in Saudi Arabia, they play in Japan, they play somewhere else? I mean, I think there is a serious challenge for PGA Tour in this particular case, because a lot of organizations seem to be seeing certain amount of merit, if not entirely merit, in the case of these players who have got the other side.
Yeah. Also, there is an accusation of the boatloads of cash on offer. So, whatever I may figure out, like it has been part of the golfing folklore like since decades. Tiger Woods came to India on a $2.2 million fee, reported fee, to play 14 holes at the Delhi Golf Club. Now, if I may check the prize money on offer, you have $50 million on offer for the team championship in the season ending event. Plus, you have an individual championship where you are offered 25 millions for each regular season event and 30 million after the completion of first 7 events. The top 3 finishers will be eligible to receive a total purse of 30 million, with the first place getting 16 million, the second place getting $8 million, and the third place getting $4 million. So a huge amount of money is involved, and the golfers are getting this huge benefit when they are competing in the Saudi League. So gentlemen, what do you think about the cash on offer? Like, it is unprecedented to be true.
Well, I mean, obviously for the professional golfers, they're very excited. It's opening up new opportunities. There's billions pouring into their sport. For the players, it's all welcome, right? Especially Asian players, European players, the South Africans, the Australians, who find it difficult to keep playing in America, right? Even now, getting onto the US Tour is getting more tougher and tougher. It's harder to get your card there unless you're a top 50 player in the world. And now the European Tour's points for the World Golf Rankings has been downgraded, I understand. So it's going to become even harder for European Tour players to keep their world top 50 status. Plus the Scottish Open, they're allowing 50% PGA Tour players just for the British Open. So the US Tour is flexing its muscles, and I think it's good to have a little opposition and keep everybody, on their toes. There's no doubt that this caused the reaction of raising the Players Championship purse to $20 million this year, right? And coming up with that, what is it, the popularity fund or whatever you want to call it, where they paid millions of dollars out to people for being, the most popular on social media, right? And all those things are reactions by the PGA Tour. And I think the PGA Tour is going to keep reacting, raising purses, maybe giving guarantee money for players who miss cuts, maybe introducing a team concept so players are guaranteed salaries to play the tour the whole year. You'll see all these things happening in the near future, in my opinion. Nothing wrong with cash coming into the game.
Also, if I may ask, Arun, also certain players have actually aired their views regarding having more family time, like Matt Jones and Hudson Swafford, who are PGA Tour regulars. They said that they have small kids at home, and having a smaller tour with more money on offer is something which they will be looking at. Won't you agree?
Absolutely. And just because people were contracted, you don't have to become sloggers, and you don't have to extract every ounce of juice from them. So the tour does not have to get longer and longer. Who was benefiting? Of course, the prize money purse, which was benefiting. But entirely the organization, as PGA as an organization, was benefiting. And I suspect some of the fight against the status quo, I mean, what Saudi Arabian initiative is doing is challenging the status quo. And what Rishi said, a result, irrespective of who wins, result is going to be, the game is going to change quite a lot. A lot of new events will come. But notwithstanding that, what the Saudi Arabian League is also showing that the players can make more money by and more assured money by playing slightly lesser, having more time to their families, not living out of a suitcase, not making a loss in a tournament, even if you're number one, if you have missed the cut. So there are a lot of good things which they pointed out. I think and probably just like every association in the world, and India is a big example of that, is the office bearers who are much more in revolt than the players themselves. It's the office bearers who probably want to control it because the raison d'etre is on that particular organization. Players may find a different league, players may find other thing, but the office bearers are the ones who are really threatened. So whoever it is, I mean, that also is a part of the problem. And like I said, when Walter Hagen was not allowed to get inside a club, despite his winning a US Open, and then he was showing all those, coming down in limousine, etc. The wheel seems to have turned the full circle. The players had formed a trade association to have better value for themselves. And now the officials are telling them that you cannot have better value for themselves if you do not listen to us. So it seems to be quite a paradox.
Also, if I may ask about the competitiveness, like that was also being criticized, that 48 players in the field, not many of the top 10 or top 20 golfers playing, only 20 of the top 100 players competing in the series. Like I was just looking at the scores, I'm sure you would have checked it out. Like Charles Schwartzel, the 2011 Masters champion, is leading the 2 rounds at 9 under par. And like if you might say about how the entire competition is there, like do you agree that this is a good competition, this is a good level of competition, or it is just a hogwash for anybody who is watching golf? Rishi?
Well, this is just the first event of many. So over a period of time, I think the field will get stronger and deeper. I think we can see that for the first event. Frankly, I'm quite impressed with the quality of the field already. I didn't expect it to be this good right from day one. They've got, about 15 marquee names playing, which is pretty good for the first event. That's all you really need for fans to be pulled in. And I think people are watching. The shotgun start is a great innovation. There's a lot more action going on at the same time. So if you want to watch your favorite player who may be 30th, at least he's playing at the same time as the leaders, right? And you can watch him at the same time as you're watching the leaders. You can watch his score go up and down. So eventually it's a bit of they've tried to T20 golf in this event by A, cutting it to 3 days instead of 4, and B, making shotgun starts. So that's as close as you can get to a T20 for now. And obviously T20 has taken over the world of cricket. It's made it much more exciting, shorter, faster, quicker format for fans to watch. And maybe fans will start if more fans start watching LIV Golf, that will be the proof that the
Yeah.
concept is going to last.
Arun, would you like to comment?
Oh, yes, I agree with Rishi completely. There were few criticisms against golf as a game. You know, the spectator count has been dropping. And the biggest spectacle in golf is actually the Ryder Cup. That's takes the highest number of viewership. So they have addressed that by getting a team championship. The other criticism is timings. You know, it is too long, and you cannot, watch your favorite players at the same time. You have to spend 6 hours on a golf course or 8 hours on a golf course to see people in different halves. So that is also addressed by the shotgun start. And I completely agree with Rishi that for a first event, I think it's a brilliant turnout. You have so many major winners, so many of them, so many Ryder Cup stars, and so the quality is very, very high. And if the rumors are to be believed, some of the great young players, the current greats, are also going to join in. So it might become a better spectacle than a traditional PGA Tour event. We just have to wait and watch.
Correct. And even the Asian players like Fachara Kongwat Mai, he is there in the top 5. Other Asian players are
Yes.
also there. And somebody like a Viraj Madappa, like a young and upcoming player from India, getting a chance to play with a field like that, rubbing shoulders with the top guys there. Rishi,
No, I
what
think
would you like
Rohit,
to
you
say
have
about
a
that?
very, very good point there. Rohit, you have a very, very good point there. One example, one advantage which this particular LIV tour gets into over PGA is what Rishi alluded to earlier. PGA tour seems to be loaded in favor of Americans, American golfers. Everyone who came from other regions did not have a very good chance of making it there, or they had a much bigger struggle. Live golf seems to be getting more like an international golf event where people from every country may be able to see some stars of their own. So whether it's African continent or Asia or Europe or Americans themselves. So I think it might improve the viewership per se because people tend to have loyalties. And in American golf, when you're looking at a PGA event, a traditional PGA event, if you're from India, you tend to be wanting to watch a Lahiri or someone else. I mean, someone else is not there, sorry. But you would like to watch people from their own country. So I think in that sense, it has got a better representative character among the players.
Yeah, even on days when Lahiri finished second in that PGA Tour event, like Rishi would agree, you got more eyeballs in the subcontinent, correct? For golf, where you have a very limited viewership.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, for a player like Viraj, he's very young, early 20s, and this is going to do wonders for his confidence. He's assured of a minimum prize money of over 1 crore of rupees, which is fantastic. If he plays 2 years in India, that's the kind of money he stands to make. If he's number one on the merit list in India for 2 years, he's going to earn as much as he's going to earn this week, guaranteed. So these are game-changing experiences for young players like Viraj Madappa, and I'm sure in future we're going to see more Indians getting an opportunity in the LIV series as they keep qualifying through the Asian Tour.
So, where does the Saudi League leave us? Like, that's the concluding question for you guys. Like, after this London event, you have 7 events on the trot, and 5 of them is in America. I'm sure Norman is actually trying to take on head-on with the PGA Tour. Like, the next event is in Portland, and then it moves on to Trump National in New Jersey, then international event in Boston, then in Chicago. Then you have a bit of an Asian leg like Bangkok and Saudi Arabia hosting another couple of events, and the finale is happening at Trump National in Doral in Miami. So that is the entire schedule for this year's LIV Golf Series. So Rishi, what would you like to add as your concluding comments? Where does this league head to after this event is becoming successful?
Well, the first year is obviously going to be the toughest. If they can survive the first year, and they've hired some top-notch sports marketing professionals, to help them now market the teams to rich individuals or maybe businesses or private equity firms who might want to buy the teams. So I think we're going to see a lot of action on the tour, and this where we are today is going to be very different from where we are 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the road. I think the landscape is going to be evolving. It's good for golf. There's going to be something really exciting, controversial, different happening in golf. As Arun said in the beginning, golf has been very sleepy, very boring, very staid for the past 30, 40 years. Nothing much has changed in the world of golf. Everybody's stuck in their old traditional formats and comfort zones. This is shaking up the golf world. And I think as we see new sponsors getting announced, new team owners getting involved, the whole landscape is going to keep evolving. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's too hard to predict right now what's going to happen, but I'm certainly going to be watching this space very carefully over the next 6 months.
Arun, your concluding comment?
Yes, I agree with Rishi. It's going to be an evolving landscape. We got to be slightly skeptical because there have been failures of similar initiatives. But I must also say there have been also similar initiatives which have succeeded. So do not write off a rival to PGA. And whatever happens, the game is going to change. And game is going to change for the better. The sleeping giants have been woken up, and you are going to get out of your comfort zone. Players are going to have a better time. And it's a lesson not only for professional golf. It's a lesson for every sport, amateur or professional alike. You got to get out of your slumber. You got to change your times. You got to evolve. You got to make the game bigger than personalities.
That was a very insightful discussion, gentlemen. Thanks for taking out your precious time for News 9. And thank you so much.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rishi.
Enjoyed it. Thanks, Arun.
All the clamor for human rights seeking attention from Amnesty International for boycotting the Saudi Arabia League has died down. Slowly and steadily, the discerning voices have also started tilting towards the Saudi League. Norman saw a great opportunity in creating a short and entertaining team format beyond the Ryder Cup. Today, it's paying dividends. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe our channel for more insightful discussions and analysis. Thank you for watching.